friends, it's Nancy from Astrology and Angel Mediums, and today I have a deck unboxing, The Goddess of Love Tarot by Gabriela Herstick. This is a deck that was not even on my radar, to be quite honest. I ended up purchasing it because I saw a tag for Reader's Mass Market decks, and I kept seeing it on a lot of people's list for decks that they like to use for love readings and such. And I am someone that has a lot of Taurus placements and, you know, maybe not Venus ruled, but I kind of feel that pull of Venusian kind of energy. And so I was like, you know what, let's just kind of go for it. It's been a long time since I have given myself like a gift, so to speak. And my birthday's coming up, kind of, not really. So this is a beautiful deck. It is by Tarcher, I believe, is the publisher. Or Penguin Random House. It looks like Penguin. So it's an imprint of Penguin Random House. So beautiful deck box. It's nice and big. The back says, whether you're new to the tarot or a long-time enthusiast, this Radiant 78 card deck and companion book are for anyone who wants to empower themselves through a deeper relationship with the goddess of love and sex in all her manifestations. With Gabriela Herstick as your guide into the mysteries of the divine erotic, learn specific tarot spreads to assist in connecting to the energy of love and lust, as well as how to work with these cards to create rituals, prayers, and devotional offerings to goddess and yourself. Through this deck and the goddess of love, come back to the body, the flesh, and the heart as your temple and most sacred source of power. So it has all the ways to kind of connect with Gabriela Herstick. So it looks like it is a collage deck. Nice kind of colors on the inside. I wish I could have done that like on here. I think that would look really pretty too, but it's okay. It's okay. Not everyone keeps boxes. Now these are big cards. Let me get a traditional tarot deck. I did not realize the cards were so big. That may be a problem for me. So here is a regular tarot deck size. So it is a little bit bigger. And there's no edging on these. These would be beautiful if they were edged in like pink or gold or something to kind of match just my preference. But I know with mass market, it can be a little bit challenging. So really nice guidebook. It has some information in here. How to read the tarot, the goddess of love blessing tarot spreads, card of the day, has some cute little things, other approaches, and how to use the cards, I guess, in different ways, and even talks about how to bless your grimoire. A lot of information for the major. So we have almost 2 pages of information here. So we have like what the card was renamed to, and then different energy to kind of tune into. So let's see what we have for the minor cards. So here we go. It talks about the suit, and then we have, let's see, does it have it like, yeah, the minors. So we have the wands, and then 1 page for each of the minors, which is more than most people do for minor cards, it seems like. So there is a little bit of information, and it gives you the astrological correspondence, which I do really appreciate as someone that does love and understand astrology. I feel like that energy helps me now. For the court cards, it looks like she has renamed the court cards. So the pages are maidens, the knights are witches, the queens are just queens, and then the king is the crone. So I like when people rename stuff, but then also like I struggle to like remember what they call them. And so I will say, as someone that like, sometimes I'll be reading with a deck and then I'm like, what did they rename this to? So I'm just gonna rip that off. So super cute. I don't think it would be reversible with this little moon sign on there. So let's kind of see. They're very big, and the cardstock is a little thin. Not too bad. I think that these would bend very easily when you start using them. And that's something that tends to happen with mass market decks, right? We don't always have like the really nice thick cardstock like you can with like an indie print or a smaller publisher doing the deck, you know, printing. And we also have taken into consideration the cost of this was like a lot cheaper than an indie deck, you know, that has been printed by a smaller publisher. So here we have the Fool, which is renamed as the Void. We have the Enchantress, which is going to be the Magician. We have the High Priestess, which has not been renamed. We have the Empress, again, not been renamed. The Sovereign is going to be the Emperor. The Hierodule, I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's the Hierophant. And here are the Lovers. We have the Chariot, very beautiful artwork. Lust, the Hermit. Oh, Lust is going to be Strength, right? Yeah, this is going to be Strength. The Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune. We have Balance, which is Temperance. No, Justice, right? The Hanged One, which is going to be the Hanged Man, Death. Temperance, the Devil, the Tower, the Star, the Moon, the Sun, Judgment, the World, and then we have the first suit, the Ace of Wands. So not a lot of the cards have been renamed out of the major cards, which I think is great, especially if you're still a little bit newer to like tarot and kind of struggle with like, what does this mean or how does this relate to the major cards? So we have the Ace, it's beautiful. I like the colors, Two of Wands with the pinks and the reds, the Three of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Five of Wands, the Six of Wands. So they're kind of like pip cards or like a pip deck where you have the number of whatever and there's not a lot of artwork like you would have in a Rider-Waite-Smith clone or Rider-Waite-Smith influence deck that has like the characters kind of doing stuff. So this may not be quite as beginner friendly as I would have thought. So we have the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Wands. I think you would have to want to have a good understanding of what the cards, especially the minor cards, mean so that you can read it a little bit easier. We have the Nine of Wands and then the Ten of Wands. So then we have the Maiden, which is the Page. We have the Witch, which is going to be the Knight. We have the Queen of Wands, and then the Crone of Wands is the King. So then we have the Ace of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Three of Cups, the Four of Cups, the Five of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Ten of Cups. So again, more like a pip style deck. This one had a little bit more that you can kind of connect to a little bit. We have the Maiden, which is the Page, the Witch, which is the Knight, the Queen, which is the Queen, and then the Crown, which is the King. So we have the Ace of Swords, the Two of Swords, the Three of Swords, Four of Swords. So there's some familiar kind of crossover imagery. The Five of Swords, the Six of Swords, the Seven of Swords, the Eight of Swords. So I think you would have to like want to tune in a little bit more into the Rider-Waite-Smith deck and kind of see the similarities and the crossover on some of these images that have been used. The Nine of Swords, the Ten of Swords, the Maiden, which is the Page, the Witch, which is the Knight, the Queen, and then the Crown of Swords, which is the King of Swords. The Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles, the Five, the Six, the Seven of Pentacles, the Eight of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, the 10, and then we have the Maiden, which is the Page, the Witch, which is the Knight, the Queen, and then the Crone, which is the King of Pentacles. So it's a little thick. It's pretty big. So let's kind of see what we have here. I want to just like randomly pull a card and see how it goes. So you have the Seven of Wands. Again, it's going to not have, there's a lot of visual impact with the cards themselves, but I think if you are not super familiar with how to read these, the minor cards, it can be a little bit confusing. So I would definitely recommend maybe having a good grasp of, you know, the minor cards, so that you can kind of read it. But like, let's look at what the Seven of Cups or Seven of Wands has in here and see if that kind of helps us. So Mars and Leo. So sometimes love and lust calls you into defensive. Even if you know that you're making the right decision, you're constantly asserting that choice to people who have your best interests in mind, but don't share your intention or perspective. So it means that you hold the power and control. It's up to you to know how to use it. Power comes into play whenever two people relate to each other, especially in love, especially in lust. Step into that understanding and into your sovereignty without losing awareness about how your decisions affect others. You may be the one with the reins, but this card is heavy with fire energy, which means keeping a clear and calculated view of where you're going before you burn any bridges in your wake. When this card shows up reversed, you are in a situation in which you don't feel fully seen or heard. This is a chance to renegotiate the terms of the relationship to be more equitable. So an affirmation is, I live in my erotic power, in my energy, and in my truth. And then there's a journal question that says, how can I channel my power while still opening my heart to empathy and compassion, for the Seven of Wands. Now for the Five of Swords. So I guess if you don't mind reading with the guidebook, this would be great, because there is a lot of information as far as like what the cards mean to the author. So Venus and Aquarius is the astrological correspondence for the Five of Swords. So here remember when I said the swords are spicy and can sting, to say the least? Well, babe, that's where you are. The swords are intense, even in a normal reading. And when viewed through the guise of love and sex, that's especially true because nothing feels quite so sensitive as matters of the heart. The Five of Swords mixes the Martian power of the fives with the piercer of the swords, provoking heartache, pain, or experiences that are less than ideal. You're left picking up the pieces and wondering what the fuck just happened. The Five of Swords reflects loss, and when the heart is hanging in the balance, it can feel like ego or death. Your suffering is real, but remember that this was the battle, not the war. This isn't the end, but more information you can use to move forward, more aligned and with more clarity. When the Five of Swords is reversed, it represents the release of pain and heartache, guiding you deeper into love. You've learned from the intensity, and now you can get to move through it. So an affirmation is, I breathe through the pain and release what no longer serves me. I allow myself to heal at my own pace. So a journal question is, what is this sacred pain teaching me about my heart? So I think if you are looking for a deck where you can possibly like really use the guidebook to kind of learn the language of this deck, I think it's great. If you're just like, I just want to pick it up because it's pretty and I want to use it in my own readings, you may struggle a little bit more with it, just because, especially if you're still very, very new to tarot. I think that this is maybe a deck that's like more for someone that has a little bit better grasp and understanding about the basics and the foundation of tarot. And I think if you kind of add in the nuance and the layered meanings from Gabriela Herstick's writing into the deck, I think it can be a really beautiful deck to use in your practice for love and sex and, you know, relationship readings, if that's something that you tend to do. Because I know as someone that does a lot of readings, relationships are usually one of the things that most people want to ask about. I usually use like the Rosebud Tarot. I really like how the imagery is from that one. And just regular tarot decks to kind of get a read for things. But I think if I was to just focus on wanting to make really pretty imagery for my relationship readings, this would be a great deck for that. It's a little bit more feminine based, so that is something to take into consideration, especially if people don't really like that kind of imagery. There's a lot of nudity in the deck as well, so if that's something you're uncomfortable with, that is also something to take into consideration. But I think it's a beautiful deck, and I may look into trying to like edge it and things like that, which I've never done with the deck, but I think this would be one that I think would look more put together and much more beautiful if it had like the edging on it. So I want to say thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you guys think of this deck. Is this a deck that you would add into your collection? And let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see. Please take care, stay safe, and as always, make good choices. Bye.